me get this straight. She and her family flee war-torn Somalia, where 500,000 are killed during a civil war, then sent to a refugee camp in Kenya for 4 years. They are then resettled by our government in Virginia to enjoy the cornucopia of rights, privileges, and benefits the United States offers. The she is Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who represents Minnesota's 5th Congressional District in Congress only about 2 months. But she's gotten attention far beyond Washington for her anti-Semitism. But as early as 2012, she tweeted, quote, "Israel has hypnotized the world. May Allah awaken the people and help them see the evil doings of Israel." Now, after an uproar in her home state, she apologized, pledging to learn more about anti-Semitism. Apparently, she did not. Once in Congress, she continued with her hate-filled anti-Semitic, anti-Israel tropes. First, in defending the BDS, or Boycott, Divest, and Sanction movement, calling for the boycott of events in Israel, and even for the eradication of Israel because of their so-called oppression of Palestine. Shortly thereafter, she tweets, "It's all about the Benjamins, baby." The Benjamins, of course, a clear reference to the $100 bill. Shortly after that, she continues her hate-filled rants, accusing another Democrat congresswoman of having a dual loyalty, pledging allegiance to Israel. She is clever, though, responding with, quote, "I am told I am anti-American if I am not pro-Israel," close quote. The House knew it had to take action. And after a week of chaos on the part of House members trying to figure out if Omar should be reprimanded, identified by name, as well as removed from the powerful Foreign Relations Committee, Speaker Pelosi comes out with a watered-down, dumb, disappointing resolution that neither condemns Omar nor mentions her name. A simple, "We shouldn't hate each other."
I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words, doesn't understand that some of them are fraught with meaning that she didn't realize.
Nancy, she speaks perfect English. She graduated from a college in the United States. You say she doesn't understand the words? Are you saying she's stupid? That she doesn't understand? Then what the hell is she doing on the prestigious Foreign Relations Committee? She speaks fluently, using tropes which are figurative and metaphorical, understanding that those words create powerful images and verbal ironies. She is far from stupid. She is clear and pointed in her hatred. Her comments only critical of Jews and Israel, not Italy, not Morocco, not North Korea, Israel. Now, the fact that you didn't have the backbone, grit, or gumption to draft a resolution that included her name tells me you're the stupid one. And if you don't understand, let me explain. Omar got you and all your pals to draft a watered-down resolution with a message we all learned in first grade. Don't hate anybody. Really? That took you bozos a week in the House? And yet you were so quick to admonish a white male Republican congressman accused of hate and strip him of his committee assignments? She then goes on to accuse respected members of Congress who support Israel, our strongest ally in the Middle East, of dual loyalty. What she's doing, Nancy, is starting a movement to shut down pro-Israel speech, making it politically incorrect. So when she comes up with her pro-Palestinian agenda, the pro-Israels are reticent to speak because she's already proven that the Dems will not punish her. And talk about chutzpah, she takes a victory lap and in an unrepentant and unchastised tweet takes credit by saying, quote, "Our nation is having a difficult conversation, but we believe this is great progress." But she continues her disdain and contempt for Israel, America's chief ally, ignoring how Israel has assisted us advancing our interests in the Middle East, preventing victories by radical nationalist movements, as well as assisting us in intelligence gathering. She then goes on to slam Barack Obama, saying he's just another pretty face who got away with murder, caging kids and droning people in the Middle East. But she adds he is a bit more polished. My question, why the disdain for the government of the country that saved you and your family after you lived in a tent in Kenya for 4 years? Why the scorn? And as the Democrats scramble to forgive, rationalize, and give a pass to a freshman in Congress, the joke is on you, Nancy. You've appeased rising anti-Semitism inside the Democrat Party. Let me say that again. You and the whole gang running for president in the Democratic primary in 2020 have appeased the rise of anti-Semitism in the Democrat Party. The sad part is that all this is contrary to the tenets of your party, which is so receptive to the LGBTQ community, illegal immigrants, refugees, and on and on. This is not who your party is. Your party is not anti-Israel. She is. Think about this. She's not getting this anti-Israel sentiment doctrine from the Democrat Party. So if it's not rooted in the party, where is she getting it from? Think about it. Omar wears a hijab, which according to the Quran 33:59 tells women to cover so they won't get molested. Is her adherence to this Islamic doctrine indicative of her adherence to Sharia law, which in itself is antithetical to the United States Constitution? I don't have to tell you, Nancy, Jews have been persecuted almost from the beginning of time, when they were forced out of Egypt, to the 6 million killed in the Holocaust, and now we are witnessing the rise of anti-Semitism in Europe, where incidents are up 74% in the last year alone in France, where Jewish cemeteries are regularly desecrated with swastikas, and people relay the common tropes of Jews with too much money and influence. We all know how it starts. It starts that way. Hate is hate. Hate leads to violence, and violence leads to retaliation, which then leads to unrest and worse. Yes, Nancy, it's all about hating Israel to promote the cause of Palestine. President Trump was right when he said the Democrat Party is now the anti-Israel party. And don't forget, Nancy, history has proven over and over, when you appease anti-Semitic sentiment, the worst happens. And in your case, Nancy, the danger for you is that your appeasing this behavior will lead to your removal as Speaker. And the Democrats, now controlled by socialists and anti-Semites, will lose the presidency in 2020. And that's my open. Let me know what you think on my Facebook and Twitter. Hashtag Judge Janine.
According to Nancy Pelosi, so she just did an interview today in which she said this: "I'm not for impeachment. This is news. I'm going to give you some news right now because I haven't said this to any press person before. But since you asked, and I've been thinking about this, impeachment is so divisive to the country that unless there's something so compelling and overwhelming and bipartisan, I don't think we should go down that path because it divides the country and he's just not worth it. So setting aside that last dig on he's just not worth it, no impeachment?
Well,
what about that?
She's a smart cookie, if I can still say that in this era.
I think you're allowed.
She knows impeachment will do three things. It'll bring out the best in Trump, because he seems to rebound from antagonism.
Likes to fight.
Yeah, he likes to fight. Two, it'll generate sympathy and anger and turn him into a folk hero, which is why he might even like the impeachment process, because look what it did to Bill Clinton. Three, it handicaps the Dems because they spread themselves too thin. They should be trying to win instead of trying to impeach. They got 2 years to figure this thing out, and she's saying, look, you try to win an election. Stop chasing this guy.
Yeah, Juan, do you think she's trying to send a message to the rank and file that we're going to focus on governing until we have, she said, if it was compelling, overwhelming, and bipartisan, then we would do it.
Right, but I think that what she's saying is, in fact, Dana, a lot of the requests for example, material, information from the White House, a lot of the continuing investigations that are going on. She's saying, let's put our money on that as part of the 2020 effort, because basically what you're going to see is they're going to say, hey, this is still a problem for President Trump. Why put ourselves in the way of President Trump's arrows in terms of saying impeachment? These people just trying to undo the 2016 election.
What do you think? She's trying to help the Democrats, Jesse?
Well, it helps the Democrats and it helps the country. And rarely do those things coexist equally, because it will divide the country if it's not an overwhelming high crime and misdemeanor. And if the Democrats overreach and impeach on something as partisan as, his taxes or something like that, or Stormy Daniels, you're going to see a huge backlash, and she's not going to have the gavel for that long. I'm not saying she's old. She's seasoned. She's seen this before.
She's wise.
She's very wise. You can have these House things flip in a heartbeat on war, on corruption, and on overreach. And remember, it's the last time the Democrats overreached on Obamacare. They lost the House for a couple
Dagan,
years.
last word?
This is why the Democrats took the House back, is because she sent this message out to them long before people went to the polls in November. If you go back and look at the messaging, she said, cut it with the impeachment talk. And then she can let Jerry Nadler and Adam Schiff and do whatever they want to about document requests and calling people to
try
testify,
to focus on governing.
but they will not be uttering that word.
All right, well, we'll see what happens.